And that happened in 1874.
That's a long time ago.
It is. But did you know that there are lots of things that happened right here in South Dakota back in the 1800s that are just like things that are happening now?
Really?
Yeah, like the South Dakota Gold Rush. It brought lots of rumors, fighting, war, and famous people to South Dakota. I can teach you, and you, all the ways that the South Dakota Gold Rush and things happening now have a lot in common, starting with Minecraft.
By all of the things I never had.
There were many people involved in the South Dakota Gold Rush, but the main characters included three people. Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer was a U.S. war hero who led the 7th Cavalry. He was sent by the U.S. government to explore the Black Hills. He was in search of fame and fortune. Sitting Bull was one of the most important Native American leaders and was even named Supreme Chief of the whole Sioux Nation. He led his people in fights to save their native land, and his leadership inspired his peoples to win the Battle of the Little Bighorn. Crazy Horse was a great warrior who led many battles to fight for Indian land and their way of life. He helped lead warriors into the Battle of Little Bighorn and helped defeat Colonel Custer and his army. Just like there are rumors now, there were rumors that circulated in the 1800s. One that Father De Smet had seen the Sioux Indians discover gold as early as 1860. Another, from a geologist, thought he saw Custer bring gold in with him to pretend he had discovered it in the Black Hills.
However, he brought along 5 newspaper reporters along with the 2 practical miners so that while he was still in the hills, the Chicago Inter-Ocean and other newspapers around the country were already proclaiming a new El Dorado, new gold strike, riches beyond anyone's.
One of the scandals of the South Dakota Gold Rush was that in 1868 the U.S. government promised to stay off of the Sioux's land in the Black Hills in the Treaty of Fort Laramie. They didn't want to follow it anymore, so it led to many wars, like the Battle of the Little Bighorn, where Lieutenant Custer fought against 2 famous Indian chiefs, Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse. Lieutenant Custer and his expedition ended up fighting for nothing, as the real riches came 2 years later when Fred and Moses Manuel, Hank Harney, and Alex Eng discovered large amounts of gold and named their settlement Homestake. The Homestake mine would go on to produce 10% of the world's gold supply for the next 125 years.